I think Mandarin called missionaries in Sydney are just the luckiest elders and sisters. Seriously, like for me, I got to see, I think, things from either side. I did speak a lot of English on mission, but I did have a chance to speak Chinese a lot, and the experiences were different in the different areas that I was in. I'd say, for the most part, obviously, because most of the people who were coming from China were people who were studying abroad, students who were studying at the universities there. And so, they were mostly in the city. And so it kind of shocked me when I ended up going to the city at the end of my mission that, just seeing all the Aussie people before I had gone there, just suddenly everyone had become Chinese. And I was really confused because I thought I'd been transferred to another country, literally. Just the tactics that we used were very much different. I think it was all organized very well by God, my mission, teaching me how to deal with people and always giving me a new environment to try out these things with, because honestly, everybody is different. Everybody is different. And Chinese people are great, and so is everyone else. I love them all. The finding tactics are different. I'd say obviously we didn't do very much tracting in the city because we didn't have to. There's people everywhere. We just talked to everyone we could see, especially on the subway, on the bus, and shopping centers and things like that. We'd always have people to talk to, and for the most part, the culture is different. And say talking to Chinese people is different because I think for the most part, not only are they unfamiliar, of course they're interested in learning about what is a Christian and what are you doing here, especially if you can speak Chinese and you're from America. No, that's different for us people. Not me because I look Chinese, but for other people. Well, that's definitely a selling point for them. But I think, and often, at the same time, they're also very studious, and so they'll always be studying, and it's hard to get a hold of them sometimes. But we did see some amazing people who were from China that just came and were just so prepared because they knew what they were looking for. They spent their whole lives in a different country that doesn't have this, and they were very excited to be able to meet people like us. And I think in speaking the language, that was the best thing for finding of all. Even if you weren't a Chinese called missionary, you would just say all the Chinese that you knew, and then you'd get contacts, because that's really all you need. And any other language, Thai or Korean, if you could say a little bit in that, maybe they would be impressed and they want to talk to you. Well, that was always really useful. I think it's a very immersive experience in the city to be able to use your language, because for a lot of people who would go there, they couldn't speak English at all. And I think we were very lucky to find them. The best thing that you can do is to understand the culture. Just understand even if Aussie culture is different from American culture, then Chinese culture is just totally different. Just the way people act, the way people are brought up is just different than we have. They have different ideas on respect, on family, respecting your parents. A lot of them will do whatever their parents say, and that's okay because that's part of their culture. That's also part of my culture, as you can see, but not as much. Sometimes it would just be hard to get a hold of people, and it was just because they wanted to leave things off until after exams because they wanted to study, and they do study a lot. You can always find them studying. And after exams, they usually go home. They go to China, and then it's hard to get a hold of them again until they come back. So, and some people end up investigating the church for years on end, with a lot of breaks in between. And they're still interested. The thing is, you just have to not give up on them. I think, it's really easy to just, see how many times people have been dropped just because they've been lost. And the thing is, just have faith in these people because, one day they'll come around. I saw that so many times with people who, you can probably general question as many people as you can who are Chinese on the street. You can get 10 to 20 contacts in one day if you wanted. And a lot of them you'll think are flaky. You just say, oh, well, I did all this just for that one person that I found. But in reality, all of them are really looking for what we have. And I just don't really have the time, at least I don't think they have the time at the moment, to find out what we're doing. But once they start doing the things that they need to, start studying the Book of Mormon, which should teach them how to do, because they'll all say that the Chinese Book of Mormon is the hardest thing ever. Just read it with them and show them how it applies to their lives, and they'll come around. I think they all will. If a Chinese person talks to me, they'll ask me if I spoke Chinese in the home, and this would kind of be like a point of no return for them. It's like, it's either yes or no, and I'd have to say no, because I'm not going to lie to them, and then they'd be like, oh, okay, you're just one of those. But I did have, I think, a pretty good ear for it. When I did enter the MTC, I still wasn't speaking Chinese, but I did pick it up very fast. And I'm very grateful for that, because even though I spent a very long period on my mission not speaking the language, and I felt like I was going crazy. I was speaking something and not knowing if I was saying it right, because it's tonal and you have to have the correct tones and sounds coming out of your mouth, and I wasn't sure because nobody was there to tell me. But in the end, finally, when I was immersed in the language, it was easy to pick up, and I'm really grateful for that. That was something I had to get over. I think every American-born Asian needs to cope with that, and they really have to learn their own language eventually sometime in life, and you might as well do it now, rather than later, because you're going to get that your entire life otherwise. There's a Mandarin ward in Sydney, and people from all over the city go. Some people have to drive quite a bit to get there, but even though it's not huge, it's very strong from what I've seen. There's some Cantonese branches in the south, and a lot of Chinese people will just go to their regular ward. In the city, there's a YSA ward that a lot of Asians go to, and so there's a good chance for Chinese missionaries to go there as well. But I was very lucky to be in the Mandarin ward, because we had great fellowship from the members, and we had great members that were great to us. They loved missionary work, and also just being able to bring the Chinese people to a place where they could feel at home, where they could feel safe. I felt like that was really important for them, and I felt very privileged to be able to lead them to a place like that.